got a big show coming up here on Patriots Today by Chat Sports, and the big question right now is this. Do you want the New England Patriots to draft a quarterback with that number 3 overall pick? Type Y for yes, you do, or type N for no, you don't. Let's get into today's show right now. I'm Harrison Graham from Chat Sports. Let's dive right in here. Alber Breer, NFL Insider for Sports Illustrated Monday Morning Quarterback, says that the Patriots are likely going to stay put at the number 3 overall pick. There's obviously been a lot of chatter. Could Minnesota trade up? Would the Patriots be willing to move down? Here's what Breer had to say earlier today. He says, it is to say that assuming the Bears, Commanders, and Patriots stay put and draft quarterbacks, 0 of the 3 have shown an appetite for trading one of those picks. And Rolly, we've said it for a while. We would prefer New England to stay at 3 and draft a quarterback, and especially to me if it's Drake Maye available. If it's Jayden Daniels, maybe I'd be open to the idea of trading down for a haul, but ultimately you got to get the QB position right.
It's the right decision to hold that pick, and I'm glad there isn't an appetite, to quote Alber Breer, to shut it off. Like, if you don't love one of the guys, I would understand it. If you're not sold on one of Jayden Daniels or Drake Maye, but to me, I don't know how you couldn't be sold on one of them being at least an above-average starter in the National Football League. I mean, these 3 guys, if you take away Caleb Williams and just look at Jayden Daniels and Drake Maye, are terrific quarterback prospects. And if you want to start competing, and I get there are a lot of holes on this roster offensively, but you have to get the quarterback position first if you want to have a chance to win in the NFL playoffs. So getting that guy, when you look at next year's draft class, is not as strong in terms of the quarterback room and the quarterback class. I think you have to take the quarterback at 3 here unless you get offered like a generational haul, maybe of like 11-23 and Justin Jefferson from Minnesota. But I don't anticipate them doing that. So stick there at 3 and take the QB.
Would you do 11-23 in their first next year?
I mean, that's the baseline to me. And I don't even know if I would even do it, to be honest. That's how strongly I feel towards the quarterback class, at least in my own opinion. To me, if you swapped out a 2025 first for Justin Jefferson, it lures me in a little bit more. But I just think I'd stay put, and I get the enticing 2 picks in this draft and another first next year. But like I said, like these quarterbacks next year, at least as of now, look pretty bad, and I think I would stay here.
I think that's the biggest problem. It's like when teams go through this process of evaluating, they also have next year in mind, especially a team like New England where they're thinking, okay, this is not probably just a 1-year rebuild. This is probably like a 2-year plan. But, A, are you going to have a pick this high next year? There's no guarantee of that. You hope you don't, because that means you're competitive this year. And B, who could be available at our disposal next year? That's what you have to be thinking if you're Elliott Wolf and Jerod Mayo. Sure, someone could emerge, but even if they do, you go back to the first point I made. Are you going to be picking this high? Maybe, but there's no way of knowing that. Like, Jerod Mayo in year 1 of being a head coach of this league is not going to tank. Like, he's going to try to be competitive and win. So when you add it all up, when you project what next year's class can be, and sure, guys always emerge, but the chances of it being as good as this year's are not great, and having a high pick, combining that, it feels like this is the time to get a quarterback.
I also say this is like when you go back to 2022 or actually 2023 draft, like those guys, even though they trade up like Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson, we already had an idea that Drake Maye and Caleb Williams were going to go likely 1-2 in the following year. You cannot say that for next year's draft class, which only just points to the direction of taking a quarterback now because there's no guy we can point to coming down the pipeline that, hey, if we stink next year and have extra assets, we can always trade up for him. We don't really have that right now.
Yeah, I mean, we don't even know who the top QB is next year, or even I bet it's very split among the NFL at this point in time. Hit the subscribe button here on the channel. We're trying to get to 10,000 subs ASAP. We're going to cover everything draft-related over the next 5-6 weeks, leading you up to April 25th, and ultimately what the Patriots do with that number 3 pick, or if they end up trading down. Subscribe. We'll have it all covered. It's 100% free. All right. The question is okay, if they're going to stay put, if Alber Breer's reporting is accurate, what is the pecking order? Who do the Patriots prefer? And I kind of agree with you. I think you take Caleb Williams out of it at this point. I think he's going to the Bears unless something pops up that they really don't like in their evaluation with his pro day this week, and they're going to have a top 30 visit after that. So if it's Drake Maye or Jayden Daniels, who do they prefer? Well, Henry McKenna had this to say on Drake Maye regarding the Patriots. He says, it's possible the Patriots like Maye and have no plans to trade the pick, and there was plenty of buzz out of the NFL Combine that GM Elliott Wolf and Coach Gerard Mayo do indeed like Maye. The Patriots believed he was the most impressive quarterback in interviews, according to NBC Sports Boston. Maye openly discussed how much he vibed with the Patriots staff. And I do remember that, Rolly, sitting right there 25 feet away from Drake Maye's crowded podium, that I think that was the exact word, vibe, that he used when he was asked about meeting with the Patriots. He said he liked the vibe. So, I'm not going to look too deep into an answer like that. I mean, they're not going to bash an organization. These guys are, excited for pretty much any opportunity they can get. But listen, if Jayden Daniels goes to Washington, to me, it's a no-brainer to take this kid out of North Carolina.
Yeah, and even if you just take the New England Patriots out of the equation here and you look at the betting odds, which are never indicative of actually what's going to happen, but Drake Maye is the favorite to go third overall, so it kind of does showcase that the odds makers believe Jayden Daniels could go number 2 to Washington, at least it currently stands. But Drake Maye has it all at the quarterback position. Sure, his raw statistics are not as high as Daniels or Caleb Williams in 2023, but if you combine his 2 seasons in Chapel Hill as the QB1 for the Tar Heels, he was just downright terrific. He showcases all of the traits that you want in an elite NFL quarterback: strong arm, the ability to make plays happen with his legs. He truly can do it all on the football field, and it's something that New England might absolutely need, having to compete with Josh Allen in Buffalo in the division, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, C.J. Stroud, Joe Burrow. These elite quarterbacks, you're going to have to win this quote-unquote arms race in terms of quarterback play in the AFC to get to the Super Bowl for the next 10, 12 years. And sure, is Drake Maye going to pan out? Who knows? I hope he does. I'm a fan of his game, and hopefully it's in New England. But the ceiling is something that you have to take the chance on, because if you do hit and he is that guy, it will make you a top team in the AFC for the next decade.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think something that stood out to me too, Rolly, when I listened to Maye take questions in Indianapolis, is that you saw the personality. Look, you played at North Carolina, not exactly a blue blood college football program, and so you didn't hear him talk a lot, right? He wasn't, leading the headlines in the college football world. Obviously draft experts and, North Carolina fans watched him every week, but it's not like people heard this guy talk. I mean, people didn't even, I bet half the country who knew of Drake Maye didn't even realize this kid had a Southern draw. I thought he had good charisma. I thought he had good energy and good poise when taking those questions. He was confident. So, he struck me as a guy ready to lead an NFL franchise. And I think the Patriots are a good fit. I really, really do. I think there's some Josh Allen crossover in his game, and I think he's got the upside to be that caliber of player with the proper coaching, with the proper pieces around him, which, again, they do have to add a lot more there. But again, the access to this quarterback potentially, it's just too good of an opportunity to pass up on, if you ask me. Now, coming up, the Patriots' plan at right tackle has been revealed. What does that mean for that player plus the rest of the offensive line? We'll discuss that in just a moment. But Patriots fans, we have a T-shirt, hat combo right now at chatsports.com/Pats combo. Take advantage of this deal today. The link is going to be in the comments and in the description. How about the shaded red on the hat? I love that look there. You got the red tee rocking, little Matt Judon style. Chatsports.com/Pats combo. Get it on sale right now, $20 off. Link is in the comments and in the description. All right, Rolly, we got some clarity on Michel Wenu, at least for me and Rappaport, is that the plan is for the versatile offensive lineman to settle in at right tackle moving forward, which I think you and I thought that's probably where this would go, just especially considering that if he does play guard, you potentially need 2 starting tackles still. So that checks one of those boxes. Now it kind of just leaves you with City Sal probably at right guard. Maybe you look in the draft for some competition in the middle rounds. Who knows? But really, left tackle is the only clear hole on the offensive line.
Yeah, and it's something that we've detailed over the past couple weeks or so when should the Patriots bring back Michel Wenu? And then they do, and then we look at the Patriots' offensive line, and it does clear things up right now. I would think they have 4 offensive linemen starters at least slotted in right now going into camp prior to a potential injury or anything like that. It should be a Wenu at right tackle. I bet City Sal gets the nod at right guard. We'll talk about him more in depth here in a second. But Wenu, very versatile player. He played as a rookie, 6th-round pick out of Michigan, left guard, and right tackle, all in his first year in the National Football League. Had a full season at right guard in the past couple of years, mainly at right tackle. And Wenu has done his job. Is he the best right tackle? No, but he's still only 26, and he's an ascending player. I think $19 million on an annual basis for Wenu is a pretty good value for New England, and I'd anticipate Mike to only get better and better as his career goes on. And I like the fit at right tackle for him, and I like City Sal, who we'll get to in just a second, because he is getting better and better as time goes on as well. But I'm glad Michel Wenu is officially right tackle, and that question doesn't have to be answered anymore.
Yeah, and look, the versatility is always going to be valuable, but it's nice to just have a clear direction. Like, hey, you're going to be the right tackle. We're gonna fill other gaps as we go. What do you guys think? Would you have played a Wenu at right tackle like they're going to? If so, type RT. If you think it should have been a right guard, type RG. I don't have a strong preference. I do think based on what the current pieces are, plugging him in at right tackle helps the rest of the unit better. Because if you put him at right guard, well, you go the core 4, like serviceable, but like I'd rather have above average / good, which is what a Wenu is, and then only have to fill left tackle rather than have serviceable and unknown at left tackle. I just think based on the personnel New England has, this made sense. And Wenu proved last year that he can be a well above average right tackle.
Yeah, and what this means is City Sal, like we kind of just mentioned a second ago, he's going to be slotted in that right guard. And listen, are the raw PFF numbers pretty? I'm not going to come out here and say they are the best, especially with him being charted for 27 pressures and 5 sacks allowed. But one thing that I can confidently say about the former Eastern Michigan lineman is that he is an absolute mauler in the run game. And that is something that Alex Van Pelt likes to do. He likes to establish the run. I mean, obviously the Patriots don't have no Nick Chubb on their roster, but Cleveland is a run-first team with a lot of play action RPOs. City Sal can dominate in that run game. He also was improving as the season went on in his first year, which is to be anticipated. You come from a small school like that, you jump to the NFL, and you have to be thrusted into a starting role. Like, you're not going to be some all-pro right away, but he got better. I remember this one play against the Dolphins specifically where he was at right guard. They came with a stunt. He knocked the defensive tackle back into the center, and then they looped an edge around to him, and he picked them up perfectly. Like, this is the type of footwork, the quickness, and the IQ that needs to be displayed to be a starting right guard in this league. So I think as the offseason goes on and he gets a full offseason under his belt after 1 full year, I think City Sal is going to be an average to an above average right guard this year. And the pairing of Wenu and Sal on that right side of the line will be one of the best run blocking duos in the NFL. And as long as the two continue to prove in the pass department, that could be a staple on that right side.
Yeah, it's 2 big boys over there, a lot of power on that right side of the offensive line. And obviously now just got to figure out left tackle. We'll see if they bring somebody in. I know you and I were casually talking. Is there any scenario where Trent Brown returns? I mean, he seemed like ready to move on. Patriots did too, but like if the money dries up, maybe you bring him back on some kind of 1-year deal. Who knows?
I'm growing on it because the left tackle, like these are your top 5 offensive tackles. And if you want to address that spot before the draft, because I think that's the most ideal situation here, Harrison, because if you go into the draft needing a quarterback, which they do, needing a wide receiver, which seems like they're going to wait till the draft to do that after adding KJ Osborne, and then this is your best offensive tackle selection. Like, if you don't bring back Trent Brown, there's going to be massive questions at that left tackle spot.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Charles Leno is a one-year guy. Is intriguing. He's been more than serviceable in 2 stops, but he's getting older. Mekhi Becton, we know he's talented, but that hasn't really panned out in New York. So we'll see. Cam Fleming, I think, is better as a swing guy. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I mean, if you're Trent Brown and there's not a clear starting job out there and the Patriots hit you up, I mean, if you want to start, it seems like there could be worse situations if you're him. So that'll be very, very fascinating to see how it plays out. All right, guys, appreciate everybody tuning in to Patriots Today by Chat Sports. We will continue to keep you guys informed with everything surrounding this football team, so don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. Until next time, go Pats.